Wait, why was audio not on? That was classic.
Oh, you missed your best joke.
This is not going to go well. People are going to be recording this and use this against us in a court of law at some
You've
point.
already peaked and nobody was watching.
Yeah.
Nah, there's no way. I'm not even getting started yet. I'm just warming up.
We at least missed that part.
So you feel like it's working, J-Mac?
We'll see.
Well, you tell us if anybody joins, and maybe if somebody in chat can be like, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I see you. You know, again, we'll just do playful banter for a little bit. It's in our outline. You know, if it's in our outline, we have to do it.
It's got to be covered. So can everyone see the three of us right now? Is that what's happening?
I have no idea. I'm just talking to you guys.
Everybody, people are in there. Justin Wilson's in there. I think Winger's in there. Maybe level 13.
Winger, he's
Joey.
in the bearded community.
Yeah, he doesn't count because he's bald and bearded. Like you're just a puff.
That's a whole new classic.
You're a puff of hair. You're a puff of hair everywhere. Like I'm glad your shirt's buttoned up. Otherwise, the ladies.
Well, it's going to be the full half, but I decided
no.
against it this time.
Yeah, it's better. Just keep that under wraps for like show 2 or show 3. Like by Town Hall 5, Ross will be shirtless. I promise our viewers that Ross will be shirtless by Town Hall 5. So you feel like everything's working okay, J-Mac?
Everybody says they can see and hear us, so.
Cool. All right, welcome everybody. This is our playful banter piece to get everything started, and obviously the introduction of Ross to the world, who everybody knows already, but they weren't sure if he was a real person or not. So here he is. He's worked his way into that 70s show to storm onto the set. He probably has some special brownies back there. His mom will walk in with him in a minute and sit around the table and pass some brownies around. But so your office is in the upstairs of your parents' house there in Ireland.
I was hoping you weren't going to tell me.
No. So I got to set the stage. So you know, you're away from the kids and the wife so that you can be professional.
Yes.
But the fun part about that is that his dad's Frank Sinatra collection, as you can see spread out there, this is decluttered, folks. Like for this show, Ross has cleaned that up behind him.
I did take some Frank Sinatra posters off the back wall. But I have to tell you guys, it is awesome. So I work with mum and dad's every day and get my coffee, my lunch brought to me, and I can just work here peace and quiet.
His mom brings him his lunch.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. And then go home and face the chaos that is 3 kids under the age of 6.
Yeah, that's chaos.
So it's all good.
J-Mac we're bringing into that group shortly. You know that, right? Bringing J-Mac in hit group.
When is the big day, J-Mac?
My funny Valentine. Is that your dad's song? I did it my way.
That's it.
Are you singing your Frank right now? When's your due date, J-Mac?
Mid-May.
Mid-May.
Wow.
So we're 2 months away. So we'll talk about this in a minute, but our whole group from all over the world for ggCircuit's getting together in New York next month. It'll probably be the last time J-Mac gets to travel for a while because it'll be like, baby could come anytime then. My third one came 30 days early, J-Mac, no pressure. That would be when you're in New York.
I think J-Mac's 18-hour working days are about to come crashing to a halt.
Oh, there'll be 18 hours of working, but he's not going to be working on ggCircuit stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here we go. So we're going to try something new today, and obviously everybody knows J-Mac and I from the videos that we post up. We did do them live for a period of time, and then we kind of got to the point where Mr. Professional J-Mac likes to go back in post-production and make everything perfect. But I think there's a lot of value as we continue to grow and we have more and more questions and need more feedback from everybody that's running centers out there to do this town hall format. So we'll try to start it with this one, see how it goes. We'll listen to your feedback about the show. Obviously, we're going to do a lot of questions and answers today. We have a lot of good questions already posted in our social media channels. If you're watching us live today, feel free to post your questions in chat. J-Mac there in the production room will be adding those to our list for Ross and I to address at the end of this. And we're just really going to go about 15 or 20 minutes. Ross and I will go back and forth through a little outline of different topics that we want to share with you guys that may or may not answer some questions, but then we'll run through your questions. And again, we're going to, talk about who it's from. I'll lean on Ross and J-Mac to tell us who that is and where they're from, because I don't know everybody necessarily. You guys probably recognize these names, I'm sure, as you see them in the Q&A list for later on. But let's just jump in. If you guys don't have anything else, let's just jump in and run through this. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So as everybody knows from ggCircuit's perspective, I think, we're very open about what we've done, but we've done a seed funding round last year and then another one at the beginning of this year, and we're going to get ready to do a Series A funding round. And for people that don't understand how funding works, it's not where you bring in money and the owners get paid. At some point down the road, you have an exit, and that's when everybody makes money. Right now, we're raising money for the sole purpose of building faster, building stronger, building better products, and delivering like a unique player experience for all of these players at these centers. So last year, our focus was version 1.0, getting automation done, getting the point of sale integrated. We're continuing down that path, which Ross will dive into here in a little bit. But one thing that we're doing this year is that you guys will probably start hearing a lot more from Georgina, who's our director of marketing. And one of her first tasks is really dividing up and identifying each of the groups within our company. So right now, as you look at ggCircuit, there's a lot of confusion because a lot of people call me and they'll say, hey, how you guys doing? You work for ggLeap, don't you? And I'm like, well, actually, we work for ggCircuit. That's the company name. ggLeap is a product name. So we're going to do a better job of redoing all the websites, and so that you'll get a better idea of how all this stuff kind of fits together. So I'll run through that quickly now, talk a little bit about some new stuff we're doing, and then we'll get to the fun stuff with Ross and the roadmap. So ggCircuit is at the top of this pyramid. It is the name of the company. It is who we all work for. It's what's on Ross's shirt that you guys are glad is covering up his hairy chest. That is our email addresses. That is what we started off as the competition side of our business. That is who we are. We do have products underneath that. Okay, so we have ggLeap, and everybody's familiar with ggLeap. It is our management software. Most of the stuff we'll talk about in the roadmap today has to do with ggLeap. By looking at the questions coming in, most of the questions are about ggLeap. That's great. That is the foundation of everything else that we want to do, is based on the fact that 12,000 screens and growing by thousands per month around the world are running our software so that we can do all these other fun things. On top of ggLeap, we'll then split off a little bit and talk. Yesterday, JMac, I think you did the show with Winger. Winger's coming on board with us to handle our services division. So startups that need consulting, they need services beyond consulting, not just tell me how to do it, but let me hire you guys to come out and help us do it. That's a whole nother part of our business now. And then some other stuff that's getting ready to start soon. One of them I'll talk about is ggFuse. That is the integration platform between other partners. So if you think about a really good point of sale company out there, let's say, that makes a really good point of sale for food and beverage, we're going to integrate with them and allow their food and beverage platform to communicate back and forth with ggLeap, ggCircuit, all the other stuff that we have going on. That's what ggFuse is all about, integrations from partners. Also integrations from event partners. So just to tease you guys a little bit, Mark has been working for a while now on some work with Super League Gaming. So a lot of you've worked with Super League Gaming where they host things at your venues. We want to take it to another level where inside of ggLeap, there's activities that players can engage with Super League Gaming right inside of the client. The other thing is just some things I won't name, but I called it GG Cool Other Stuff. So there are some other products and other divisions that we're firing up that we'll talk about in the next couple months. And those things are dedicated to certain aspects and pieces of running this business as well. Everything for us is based on location-based esports. And esports doesn't have to be high-level competitions. It's just any kind of activities and engagements in video games. Could be release parties. It could be leaderboards. It could be seasons. It could be all of these other things that we do. That's what we're all about, is trying to deliver as many of those products as possible. All right. I'm going to quick answer a couple questions with my next point that we may answer down there, but I saw some chatter about this and wanted to address it. And I wanted to talk about some of our new bigger clients coming on board and how that affects all of the centers as a group. And I'll use some very, very insightful examples from some of these clients that, there's nothing we're trying to hide. So last year, I think it was, Ross, when did we start Alienware Best Buy project? Was that last year or was that 2 years ago?
No, it's got to be 2 years.
Maybe it was in 2016, yeah. So most of you know, we've talked about that. Alienware came to us with Best Buy. We designed a version of the client that runs in Best Buy stores. They paid us custom development work to do that. Did that affect our roadmap, and did that affect what we were releasing? Absolutely, full disclosure, at that time in 2016, while we were a smaller company, it did affect some of those releases, not as much as you probably think they did, but it might have moved some things back. a week or two while we were working on some functionalities for them. However, I would say 80% of the things that we built for them, for their version of this product, were things that the centers got the benefit from as well. So one I always remember from that project is the lock screen unlock. You know, until that project, we did not have a way to unlock GG Leap from the client if internet connectivity went down. We had to build that for these kiosks in Best Buy, and as soon as it was built, we released that feature to all the centers. That will happen with us with some of these other projects we're talking about. Specifically, I'm just going to talk about one, and then I'll turn it over to Ross. You know, we've been working with GameStop now for a couple months. They've got some big announcements coming soon. In no way, shape, or form that anything we're doing with them going to slow down or derail anything we're doing on the behalf of all the centers in the GG Leap community or for any of the other products we're doing. We're at the point now where we've scaled and have a core team that can add on additional development as needed for these projects. So what GameStop needs from us and what we need to design for them and build for them, we will bring on additional development to do those projects that we can be started up and let go at the end of that project in a consulting manner from us. They're not going to be part of our core team. Our core team will manage that product, and we'll hire that outside development to plow through those projects on the side. So I don't want anybody to feel like any of the big stuff we have going on, I'm not going to stop talking about it because I'm excited about it, but I want everybody to know, hey, those things are not going to detract from anything we're doing on behalf of all centers. The other thing that I'll address real quick is, you know, there is at no given time that I'm interested in becoming a company that just works for one big organization. If we do that, we segregate our whole market and it ruins the whole purpose of what we've been building for. JMac reminded me today, 10 years ago, ggCircuit started running events between LAN centers in the United States. So for 10 years, our goal has been using a group of centers together as a whole to make sure that we can represent ourselves well to publishers and partners and manufacturers and everybody else in the industry that cares about millions of gamers. And that's what we've got to make sure we do is keep ourselves unified and not split off so that we're just working with one big company or even 2 or 3 big companies. So blowing through that stuff as fast as we can. I don't know if that was 5 minutes. We're shooting for 5 minutes each on each of these topics, but I'll turn it over to you, Ross, for some roadmap. I heard the dogs barking. You can smile. It's okay. If mom's going to bring you lunch, if mom's going to bring you lunch and the dogs are going to come in, it's totally fine.
Okay.
That's how we roll.
All right. Well, just quickly to mention the core team, I think it'd be good to give a shout out to the guys. So we've got
Absolutely.
Chris, the CTO, Andy, lead dev, and SV, Mike, and Artur are the core development team. We also have a bunch of outsourced guys as well that we use for front end. So for the last period of time, there hasn't been a client update for a while, and that's really because we've been really working on the iteration of the Fortnite automation. Now, as many of you may know, when we first attempted to run this back in January, we thought naively that we had tested it enough in eBash and in my virtual environment, and we thought it would be fine. And we quickly learned that it wasn't, and the auto login was about 20% successful, but that led to all sorts of chaos from the centers because things didn't work as was expected. So for the last month or so, we went back to the drawing board. We've spent a lot of time just iterating on that and making it as good as it could be. And we've been running obviously weekly events now for a while. And so the first one back after about a month was like 70% awesome, and then 75, and then 80, and now we're like 95% auto login success rate. So going into future events, we can be confident that that is going to get better and better as we get closer to 100%. And it's a step forward to us being able to run automated events beyond just Fortnite, and even using the GG Leap lobby system as a whole new platform for players to connect with one another, to group up, to find players and get involved in games. We're pretty excited about it. Also, we've been working on an Angular 7 upgrade, which is a really boring one to talk about. It's behind the scenes one on the front end, but a couple of weeks work went into that. When we deploy the next update, which will be hopefully today, and if it's not today, it'll definitely be tomorrow, you'll notice a significant speed upgrade on the web admin. And also it'll be much more mobile friendly, so we can now that we've got it in Angular 7, we can move it to the tablet and phone much easier and just try and make that part awesome. So with that said, I'm going to go through some of the things that we're currently working on and give you guys an idea of stuff that's going to be happening in the sort of 6 to 8 week time frame, and hammer through this pretty quickly, and then we can talk about stuff that we've got lined up for the following period of time, which is kind of the summer and onwards. Now we're having a meetup, I think you said, Zach, in April.
It's tax day. Yeah, it's tax day. So in the U.S., tax day is April what? 15th, I think. Yeah.
So we're getting together that day, the whole team, and we're going to figure out the 12-month plan. From that point onwards, we're going to take all the priorities, and that's why one of the reasons why we're doing these town halls is to get feedback on what those priorities are, so we can schedule out the next 12 months. But we do already have a roadmap for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And one of the things I did mention on Facebook is it'll be really cool for us to start publishing these again. So I can confirm certainly by the end of this week that I will be back on top of the public roadmap to make sure that you guys know what's coming in the near future. And I want to try and get to a stage where we're setting out 6 to 8 week Gantt charts, development sprints, where we know what we want to get done in those periods of time. We have it all mapped out and who's doing what. And then we can let you guys know the milestones that we want to achieve in that period of time, so that, we don't get people who are asking for features that we are sick of saying, coming soon, because we know it's coming soon, but we haven't communicated that out to everybody. So if everybody knows what's happening soon, then you guys can feel safe that we're working towards that, and that's sort of penciled in. But I'm going to screen share just because I've got a few talking points here, and it's probably best if we're looking at a screen. One moment.
J-Mac's heart's racing as you do this to figure out how it's going to look on the stream. I can tell.
Not
like
really.
The bead of sweat. Look at the bead of sweat.
I think I've already set it up fine. It's just, it just depends if there's some sort of Irish disconnection.
Yeah, there is. Translation from Irish to English is always, there's something lost in translation.
All right, hold on a second.
This is how I envision Ross working every day, like hunched over, staring at the screen from like 6 inches
away.
This is how I work.
Yeah. Okay, can you guys see the coin features document? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So one of the questions that we've been asked a lot over the last couple of years is, can we run events and give away coins? Can we not have coins? Can we change the amount of coins that people get? And we've decided to make a big change on this and let you guys do whatever you want with coins, essentially. So by default, it'll be the same as it is now. So if you've tweaked your center to have your economy the way you like it, then you don't have to do anything. But if you do want to change it, you can. So you can change the formula that we're currently awarding for Dota and League, so the amount of coins that you get. You can exclude users if you have staff, because I know that's a problem. If you have a slider and your number one staff guy is the number one all the time, then that's an issue. So you want to remove him. You can create special offers, because I know, again, that you could have a weekly offer, and maybe it's a weekly prize that someone's won, and yet they're generating coins the entire time they're playing. You might want to restrict that. Again, you might want to restrict the prizes themselves. And you might want to have a modifier based on when players are playing certain games. So if you've got a new game or you want to promote some game, you get to have double coins. You can have VIP users who are getting more coins, maybe VIP groups, so VIP computers get more coins. And one of the ones I used to do back in my gaming center days was you can make it easier for people to earn coins when they start and taper it off as they play for longer. So the people who are sitting down for the first time, they win a free hour from playing for 20 minutes, and they think this is easy, they're the best gamer in the world. But they slowly learn that it becomes harder and harder over time. But by that point, they're interested into the system. They know how it works. They've won something for free, and they're just motivated to continue. And then we want to do a big focus on the daily and weekly leaderboards, and I'll touch on the slider, which is a big part of it, in a second. But it would be cool if the slider is showing the leaderboard positions, and players know that if they finish top, or if they finish in the top 3 of the leaderboard that day, and it can be regional, I think regional is probably the right size, then they will automatically win a coin payout, and you don't have to do anything. You can just set what those payouts are, and it'll just happen. And again, you can attribute coins for any player for any reasons. You want to run an event in a certain game, and the winner gets 5,000 coins. That is fine. So this really gives you the opportunity to micromanage your business the way you want to. This is the loyalty system that should work for everybody. We're pretty excited about it. Like, one of the reasons why we're doing this now. 1 second. Let me just get another browser window.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, Ross, just real quickly as we talk about this, one of the things in order for us to get through this and get through questions, like, are these things going to be available? Like, can we make that screen so we don't have to spend a lot of time going through each of these, but make that screen available to other people? I don't know if that's a private doc, or.
No, it's not. No, I can just share the link for that one. It's no problem. hold on 1 second. I'm probably going to take too long, so I'm going to skip through a few things and just start showing some screenshots. 1 minute, I've lost my document. Okay, so
Ross, just a heads up that your screen is really kind of screwy from my view.
Yeah, it's like distorted or something. You may have to minimize it and maximize it or something.
Okay, well, I'll cover a few things quickly, and then we can maybe talk about things more in Q&A. But we are working on a new client. We're working on replacing the stats coming soon section of the client.
No. Why would we do that?
It's happening.
You talking about game data coming soon?
I am.
That's like part of our system.
It sure is. Now this, I'm going to show you guys just it's a Photoshop of what we're literally integrating it into the client at the moment. So this is the Fortnite one, for example, which is very themed to Fortnite. And here is a League of Legends one. So what we're trying to, for the games that we support, which at the minute is League of Legends and Dota 2. However, I don't know if Zach has dropped the bombshell, but we are recording stats.
You're going to say it?
All of the games that are being played. So Fortnite stats are actually happening behind the scene. And right now we are looking at the data, figuring out the formula and trying to figure out how it's going to work so that it can be presented, first of all, in the slider, which I think we'll have next week. And then we'll start, releasing stuff on the client as well. So we're pretty excited to finally get past the point where we have this old, coming soon thing that we've had for a long time and move to have really dynamic and interesting stats within the client. And again, it's about just trying to get the gamers interested in what they're doing at your center, to gamify it as much as they can. And it comes in conjunction with the slider. And let me just cover the slider very quickly and show a few more screenshots. I know I'm taking up too much time here. But I'm really excited about the slider. It hasn't been released yet. I know some of you guys have been playing with it. But here's why I'm excited about it. So let me just zoom in a little bit. I might need to move that. Okay. So on the slider, you can choose from any number of slides, whether they're League of Legends or Dota 2, and you can create this slideshow on the left-hand side. You can set the colors, and you can choose, if you want to, the music that goes along with those slides. So if a Dota 2 slide is showing, and it's showing Dota 2 stats, then you're listening to Dota 2 music. And same with League of Legends, and we picked some sort of epic music for the other ones as well. And so you can preview these tracks. I don't know if that'll... so you can preview these tracks. If you don't like them, you can remove them. You can add your own ones. And the idea really with the slider is that the slider should be like one of the awesome things that you have going on in your center on the big screen, so that if gamers are coming in and it's on, they know it's a ggCircuit center because it's playing the right music. You've got like highlight and frag videos going on there because you can have custom videos, custom images. You can make this whatever way you want. And then if we press start slider, it'll just start going through all of the slides you've created. There's static slides, there's scrolling slides, there's the videos and everything.
But that's a URL, right? So they can just pull it up anywhere. They don't have to be logged into the admin.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's buttons on the side. You can generate a tiny URL, or you can copy it to clipboard. But this is just the start of where I think we should go with it. So for instance, when we're running the big 50K event next month, we'll take the winners, the final servers, and we'll create like really cool videos, like highlight videos of the players like doing well in the game, so that everybody kind of gets a bit of recognition. And then in our super admin panel, we can make that available. So there'll be like an extra tab here for ggCircuit events. And if your guys were in that event or you partook in that event, you can drag that slide over to your slide reel. And I thought also we could make like a playlist of really cool videos, like stuff like, just good frag videos from Fortnite or Apex or whatever. And we'll just keep the good content coming. And then you guys can choose what you want to show, what you want to display. And we'll just try and have this like really cool big screen display or whatever you've got in your center for gamers to become more interested in the leaderboards and to set the ambience for the center. I just think it's going to be awesome. So what we're going to release tomorrow is it's pretty basic. It's just got the League of Legends and Dota 2 and the coin leaders and your customizable stuff. But this is going to be a part of our service that we'll continue to iterate on and bring.
Let me ask a real question here. Why do you have 47 unfilled orders on your screen.
Oh, well, this is my test center, and it's not just me that uses it. All the developers use this test center.
Total test instant.
Yeah.
Hey, Ross, not that we're going to guarantee one thing or another, but could you just touch on a little bit of things that we're going to add to the slider that we're thinking about?
Sure. Well, as I said a second ago, if we're running events, then I think we should be doing post-events marketing. So we should, like, even if it's not Fortnite, any game that we do, there should be something that happens afterwards, whether it's a compilation of photos of the winners or the runners-up or some sort of highlights video if we can do it. But there needs to be something for afterwards that we can make available on the slider so that the centers who participated, or maybe the ones that didn't, can see like how awesome it was, and then the word will spread in the gaming center, and then next time it'll be even more popular, and then you can keep that on loop for a few weeks and then swap it out for something else. I think that would be a cool one. And also, one other thing I wanted to talk about is, we're going to be bringing in the prize vault into the slider itself. So just to have a look at, this image, for example. So we're going to create all of the most commonly, used prizes. So that would be like most of your confectionery items, like your time passes, your day passes, and some hardware stuff. And we'll design all of those and make them available to you if you want to have those promoted as prizes for whatever amount of coins you decide. And then if you have some sort of custom request, you'll be able to request for us to design something for your prize. So maybe you're giving away a monitor or whatever it is. We can quickly design something so that it's themed with what we're doing, and it means that it's consistent everywhere, and it's gonna look good as well. So I think the prizes is going to be one of the ones that comes next. The post-event marketing, I think it's going to be great, and also I think we should be creating playlists of cool videos that we can make available to everybody, and perhaps in the future, individual centers themselves can make their own playlists and share them, and so there's this kind of community of cool sliders that's going to be built up over time.
Yeah, I like the customizable portions of it, and again, we got to kind of speed this up. We're not going to get through everything else, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But for me, and just knowing what it's like running a center, like a lot of us are just going to want to click a button and have preset ones. Like to me, there's got to be 2 or 3 of these that are like, you just select the games you want to feature and then throw 10 different slides on there with some videos. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have to spend a lot of time with it. There'll be people that really want to customize it, but I think for the most part, most places will say, hey, just give me the URL. Let me run the default one. The default one's going to be great, for all of us to have up and running in our center.
Well, that's a good example for the playlist. So there could be just a default playlist, which has a couple of cool videos. It has some coin stats and some league stats or whatever, and it's just what we expect to be the default, and there'll be extra playlists as well. So gotcha. Moving on then.
You got like negative time left. If I had the timer going, it would be bad for you.
Well, just to show a quick
And don't forget, we can show this stuff, link some of this stuff later after the call.
Okay.
So I like teasing it a little bit, bit of talk about it. Yeah.
Just kind of want to just cement the fact that Fortnite stats are coming, and they're coming soon. We've been doing a lot of work on design as well as the stats and the implementation of it. And I think I'll leave it there in terms of project. Well, there's a few extra projects that are under development, which is the new admin 2.0. Let me just share something on that 1 second.
There's Ross's lunch is about done cooking. Seriously.
The old lean cuisine.
Right. So we are now looking at the client 2.0 and how we may want to do that. I think the direction that we want to go with the next iteration is certainly a lightweight 2D client. We may do the first version of that in Unity, but we have plans for other technologies as well, just to make it really snappy. And we have also a good idea to make the UI open source. Because the ggLeap is comprised of 2 components. You've got the client interface.exe, you've got the UI.exe. We can make the second half completely open source, and everything's controlled through the core anyway, so that's fine. We're also working on some designs for the new admin. So, there's a lot of stuff that we're kind of just working on and teasing out at the minute for over the next 6 to 8 weeks. That's really exciting, and then we have a lot of further priorities.
Do you need to check on your parents? Like, is something on fire?
I'm sure there we go. They know what they're doing.
I mean, that was like the smoke alarm was going off.
That's what it was. All right, so I'm going to leave it there because I do have more stuff to talk about, but I assume we're
going to hit a lot of these in Q&A. We're going to hit a lot of these in Q&A, and I may put you on the spot and have you pull up things as we go. So again, just to summarize, by Friday, let's try to get the roadmap back online so that everybody can see what's coming up next in the roadmap. And a lot of the questions we're going to have here in a minute is going to be specific items that I'm sure are on that roadmap. So if you've got something and you want to work on pulling that up while I'm talking here for a little bit, I don't know what you want to share as far as like upcoming projects on the roadmap, or if you don't want to share anything, that's fine. I just know we've worked on a lot of projects for, scheduling out the developers over the year and how we're going to spend our budget and everything on those things. So I'm just going to spend real quickly a couple minutes and then we'll jump into Q&A. So I appreciate everybody sticking with us while we blab for a little bit. Hopefully what we're saying is answering a lot of questions as we go. I just wanted to touch base real quickly on, from our perspective, the core of our business, the reason why we started all this is to engage players. Like we want player engagement. We want experiences for players. We want to drive players to centers. We want centers utilization to go up. We want centers to be more profitable. So I call it the pew, pew, pew principle. I don't even remember when we came up with this, but it's play, engage, and win. And you've got to do it 3 times. So play, engage, win, play, engage, win, play, engage, win. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're always running tournaments. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're trying to do recruitment or high intensity events. A lot of times it's just community nights and special events and viewing parties. It could be any of those things. So we're going to have a lot of that stuff kind of start kicking in. And I want to put this out there so everybody can start thinking about it. But from our perspective, and this is just kind of our internal code name. I don't know that we'll make it this name in the long term or not. But a lot of people that have been with us a while knew that we started playing back before we built GG Leap with a ggCircuit Gold membership program. And so the idea is that without putting the burden on the centers, how do we run events and help participate with different centers at their locations? And so we're going to really start reaching out to the players in a lot of the centers and getting their feedback on what they'd like to see. How do we more engage them? We'll do a lot more tests. So we may reach out to some of you and say, hey, we want to do a test at your center for this event on a Tuesday. Are you willing to do it? Yes or no? The idea behind this thing in the end is that we as a company, ggCircuit, I just know right through this fish tank right here, Cody, my store manager, is out there today, and all the workers in a store have their hands full making sure that there are people that show up to work, that the store is clean, that the mom calling to book the birthday party gets on the schedule, that, they're having their hands full just running the store. And so what can we take on from ggCircuit's perspective? And again, it's optional. Like we've talked about this, like nobody has to do what we're proposing that we'd like to do, but how can we engage these players or help engage the players on behalf of the centers? And we have some specific clients that need a lot of that. And some of you may not need any of it. Some of you may do a great job. Dan from Pure Esports out in Arizona does a great job with a huge event schedule, engaging his players. But even him, when I talk with him about what can we do for him, there's only so far that they can go in that local level before they want to get connected to other players in other spots. So show up, queue up for a match, put me on a team with 4 other people in a ranked match. Let's see if we can win 3 in a row and then win a prize. Can ggCircuit organize and take care of all that stuff for you guys? And you guys meaning me too at my store, so that players can show up and potentially have a keyboard show up at their door in 3 weeks if they win a prize, with no work at all done by the center. So a lot of our focus this year is going to be on the player side, engaging the players on behalf of the centers. I'm very conscious of overstepping the bounds of who those customers are, in a regular day-to-day item. So this will be something that the customers have to opt into. If they want to be in this program with ggCircuit, they'll have to join this program, whatever it's called. And, there'll be some sort of fee associated with it. And we'll sell those things probably through the centers and you guys will make money on it. Like the players need to pay for this engagement. And we can be the bad guys or the good guys, whichever way you look at it, by providing this list of engagement at a certain fee. Somebody brought up, we'll talk about in the questions later, like, why do tickets cost money for an event? Like there's a humongous overhead cost in administrating these things, that it's not just our folks showing up to run the event. There is so much work that's put into promoting it and creating all the graphics and getting the contracts aligned with publishers and all these other things that cost a crap ton of money and time that, at some point in the end, the players are the ones enjoying it, and the players are what we're trying to reach. So how do we help them? How do we make them help us in providing those things for them? So a lot more coming on that. And in that mode, let's talk about the Fortnite event. So this kind of goes with one of our questions in below that we'll hit, but April 6th and 7th, it's going to be our next big Fortnite event. $50,000 provided by Epic, along with the private servers that we've been using. Ross and his team has worked really hard on getting the automation down. We are tracking stats. We do have a point system in place. The breakdown is 10,000 for Asia, 10,000 for Europe and Middle East, 15,000 for U.S. East, and 15,000 for U.S. West. Every player will also get a Kablama spray. So if they didn't play even if they played in it, we'll email them another one. They can give it to their girlfriend or their buddy or their mom or whoever that they have in their life that would enjoy that spray as a thank you for participating. And then the formula we're going to use for this next one is I just played in the Gauntlet events. I don't know if anybody else listening plays Fortnite, but I love the new formula for the Gauntlet events. Every kill is a point. If you get top 25, it's 3 points. Top 15, it's 2 points. Top 5, I think, is 2 points. So you can get a lot of points in it. Everybody gets a lot of points. The folks in the finals will be those that get a victory royale, and then the rest of the finals will be filled out with the top point gainers in their 3 matches. So those tickets, I don't know if we're ready. Are they on sale today?
It will be after this call.
Okay, so we will have the tickets available. We'll limit it to 50% to start, just because we know it's going to fill up pretty high. I mean, again, no matter what region you're in, I know it's a $50,000 pool. So everybody's like, why do you advertise a $50,000 pool? Well, I mean, it's a pretty sizable pool for each of these regions. I have a feeling centers in the middle of the U.S. may do both U.S. West and U.S. East. That's $30,000 worth of payouts just there. And the spread that we're looking for is for the winners of these finals matches will win thousands of dollars for winning one match. I mean, it's a pretty exciting time for us. And these are things that we've been working on forever to automate that will spread across other games. So Ross and I had a phone call this morning with a cool company that most of you would probably know if I said their name, that is working on some technology for us to get game stats in other games, such as one that has four letters and starts with A, that maybe all of a sudden in 30 days we have a tournament for that game. So, these are things that might seem like we're focused on Fortnite, but we're focused on Fortnite because we have a great partnership with them, and they're paying the $50,000 fee out for all of us to be able to put these events out there. And we know that, I'll address this question right now. So we sell these tickets to centers 100% to help us cover our administration cost and to guarantee that we know how many players are going to show up for it, so that it's not a cluster the day of the event where centers bring hundreds and hundreds of players in that didn't tell us that they were going to have players. So if it costs you $5 to reserve this ticket as a center, you can then sell that entry fee in your store, but it also kind of acknowledges to us that you're going to not guarantee it, but we've got a pretty good idea that you're not going to buy tickets without bringing a player to the table. So it's a little bit cheaper in Europe and Asia because the prices are lower in those regions than they are. So it's, starts at $5, but it goes as low, I think, as $3 in the US this time. Is that right, Ross?
Right.
And then in Europe, it goes down to $2, and in Asia, it'll go even cheaper. So we're trying to just make this as easy as possible, as automated as possible. And this is only a test or a taste, I guess, of what we're about to do the rest of this year and many other games with many other styles of events. So anyway, that's it for our list. And I want to spend some time now doing some Q&A. And I've got the list in front of me, and I'm assuming J-Mac will keep adding stuff in here from the chat as he goes. But I'm just going to start. A lot of this will just kind of go back and forth, Ross. I'll read the question. I'll let you answer it, or I'll answer it if I know. If you know, I'm just going to let you answer it, and we'll see if we can nail these. So, and I am totally going to butcher the names. So I apologize to everyone out there if I did not say your name right when I'm reading these questions. So we'll just start from the top. So Jacob Sehested says, when will the export to CSV function work? This is very crucial. At the moment, as things are, I have to take a screenshot of the daily report and send it to my accountant. I cannot believe this is not a top priority, ! I don't know how they operate in other countries, but here in Denmark, we have strict rules regarding these sort of things. So export to CSV, Ross.
Soon. One of the problems.
No, you can't. No, you can't say soon because everybody has seen coming soon for 2 years.
Yes, no,
okay?
I will give you a date. Let me just
Okay.
explain why this has taken so long. So basically, like one of the problems that we have being a small team, and we're growing now. Our development team's getting bigger. Is that we've tried to at least cover the basics with the software, so that if a big opportunity comes up with Epic to start doing Fortnite automation, or there's some sort of big fish out there that we think will really be of interest to the gamers, it's really hard to prioritize time, because we know we need to do the admin stuff, which is boring, but we know it's 100% needed. But then there's this other exciting stuff which we know will bring you extra business, and we kind of want to do that as well. And so it's been hard to just map everything out. But we are growing. We have hired extra developers. We're a much bigger team than we were even 6 months ago, and we're hiring again at the moment. So what we've decided is that we need to almost redo the entire stats and report system, to do it properly, to do it so that it is perfect and it has all the reports you guys want. It's going to take a couple of weeks, and it's just been hard to get that amount of time. But I've worked with SV, who's one of our fantastic developers. He is going to take this project on, and I've taken a chunk of his time to make sure that he can get that done. So I can assure you that this project for just flawless reports will be done within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Should we write these down, JMac, as we go? So because town hall number 2 may be the week we get back from New York. And so you'll be like 1 week left at that point to have that piece done.
Town hall number 2 will start with the highlights from town hall number 1 and all of Ross's answers.
Yep. And then we'll have the comparison to see how well we deliver on our promises. All right, here we go. Plowing through these. So Hicham Zabadani, we know him really well. He's, I feel like he's like a good friend of the company. He's been with us forever. His question is very, I'm just going to throw it at you. Here we go. We need a convincing reason why some countries are not allowed to participate in the Fortnite events. I mean, again, if it was up to me, all ages, all countries participate. Like the worst thing for me is hearing back from the legal department of why some country can't participate or why some age can't participate. I don't know myself why I can give you a reason why they can't participate, but I can tell you that 99% of the rules and regulations are from Epic themselves because they're paying out the $50,000. So they have a set amount that their legal team has approved in. There may be some weird law in a country that you don't even know about because again, it's a U.S. company that's wiring money to somebody overseas. There may be some sort of law against that, or that's considered gambling in your country. Like video games are considered. I don't know what it would be, but I can tell you if you're not allowed in, it's not because we don't want you in. It's because there's something. Now, again, I know all of you would be like, tell me what it is. I'll go to I wanted to say congressman, but I'll go to my leaders in my country or my state or wherever and try to get it pushed. And, these things move fast. You guys know this. Epic comes back to us and gives us about 3 weeks to prepare. We just don't have time to push those through. The rumor is on this one that we get to go down to 13 years old. So I'll drop that bomb right now, which we couldn't do in the original one. And Epic has kind of loosened the reins on that a little bit. I don't know if you saw the Fortnite World Cup announcement, but at the bottom of that, there was an asterisk that says you must be 13 years or older. You still have to have a parental consent, of course, if you're not age of majority. But so there are some better things on this next one coming. Hicham, I don't know if your country will get in or not. We'll just have to wait and see when the full rules are posted later this week. All right, Martin Cruz, my buddy from Texas, who loves to tell it like it is, and we love him for it. Let's see. This is a lot of questions. Okay. With the last minute announcement of this town hall, now come on, we gave a full day's notice. I'm not fully prepared, but when are we going to see fixes and improvements to the client? All right. Now some examples. Launches, and I'll do these one at a time for you, Ross. Launchers that get terminated by the license manager 50% of the time. Any idea what that one is? Like launching games in Steam or in...
Well, what I'll say is that we have a good idea for how we can take the game launching to V2. If you think about whenever you're booting GG Leap client, whenever you reboot a PC, the splash screen appears and it tells you what's happening through the process of loading GG Leap. So if something goes wrong, you know where it's gone wrong. And we need to do that for the game launching. So instead of just having a swirly animation, we need to be presenting step by step what's happening in our back end and in our core for launching the game. So if something is going wrong, we can immediately identify it and it'll say on the screen what has gone wrong so that we can work to fix it. Because sometimes it's a vague problem that the button isn't working, and it's really hard for us to get that information, and it can take time. We have to get logs and whatever. So this will all be solved with V2 game launching, and this will be you're putting me on the spot here for timelines, but it's certainly important. I don't think it's that hard to do, and it'll certainly be rolled out with the client upgrades that we've got planned for the next.
Well, I'll back you up a little bit. So for the Fortnite events, we've built some tools to keep the customer from clicking and doing things, and because that's what some of the people I know, like, they click to launch the game, they don't see anything happening, so everybody's impatient, so they click it to launch it again, or they click it to launch it again, they click it to launch it again. So even though we put some pauses in there, like you said, there's some things that we've tested on the Fortnite event that I think will spill over into solving that issue as well. So we'll leave it at that. We won't put you on a timeline, but yeah, go ahead,
just for clarification, it's a lot of it he's saying for all launchers is that when you quit a game and then try to launch another Steam game or another launcher game, tends to be when it happens for him. Now, there's others that have some issues with it hiding and
I
the
know,
like.
I'm aware of that issue, and it's to do with how quickly you launch another. Basically, if you close a Steam game or a Battle.net game or whatever, there's a process that happens in ggCircuit background, which is to check, has the process really been closed? And if you launch another game that quickly before that process is finished, it can cause problems. So I am aware of that issue, and we're dealing with it. But again, where we need to get to is with the V2 games launcher that just explains what's happening. So
that makes sense too. If you're relaunching a game while the other process is in place to try to kill that, then it's going to kill it while you're launching it. So those are things that we can address and put some time constraints on the launching of a new game until that process is officially killed, and etc. So
what it should do is, if you're starting a new game, it should tell the core to abort what it was doing, because it doesn't need to do it anymore. So there's some stuff that we need to do there, and I'm aware of it.
No taskbar.
Yep, we do need a taskbar. I'm full agreement that that's what we need, and we need to do it. I'm going to need a bit more time to prepare a roadmap.
Well, here's what I'll say. I think in order to be efficient, we're not going to redesign a taskbar into the current client. Like, I think that's a 2.0 release. So if we get the 2.0 dates down, then I guarantee the taskbar will come with it. So I know by for sure we'll have it by then. Now, if 2.0 is not going to be released for 9 months, then we may need to look at doing the taskbar in the current version. So I think it's going to be determined on the Gantt chart you're about to prepare.
Well, a lot of the work for making a client taskbar would be done in the core, and as we know, the core is separate from the UI. So if we make it on the core, it would be just as easy to put it in the existing client as it would be in a new client. So we might as well just do it for both at the same time.
Okay. No task manager. I think that goes with taskbar, kind of, doesn't it? Like the taskbar would just show us what's running.
Well, one of the issues that I know is an issue with the ggCircuit client is that there's no system tray, and some of the applications tend to minimize themselves there, and then they just get lost. Some of the centers have told me that they would quite like to have just the Windows taskbar there. So I think certainly when we build out the client 2.0, we want to have all of the options there available, so that centers who do like that can have it, centers who don't, and we can just make it as flexible as possible. But if we're making the taskbar, we should also have the system tray in there as well, so that people can recover applications that have become hidden, because right now they can't.
No favorites, no one-click access to Steam, no new sections, no way to customize the look. I think some of that maybe comes with maybe a different ability for the admin to sort the games, and then us with the new game screen, I think that kind of is part of it, like the no game description point.
Yes, that is important, but I think also one of the issues that's been highlighted there, which is one of the things we've talked about for a while that we need to do quickly, is to create like a home page or a landing page, so that whenever the gamer logs into the client, he doesn't just see the games, he would see some news screen that would maybe have his favorite games. It would have a calendar of upcoming events. It would have announcements from the admin, announcements maybe from us if there's something going on. And so this initial screen would just, and maybe also like how well he did last time, what prizes he's close to redeeming, all the stuff that he or she would be interested in. And from there, they can close that and then play their game, or they can look more closely at it. And that way, you guys can filter your news across. You can inform your gamer of what's going on, and when they log in, they can quickly access what they want to access as well.
Client impossible to access without internet. I'm not sure what that means, because it doesn't work when there's no internet, but now you can get into it with the unlock code, right?
Well, it's not as 100% as what we would like it to be. So if the client is fully booted and your internet is disconnected, yes, you can do the unlock code, but there's still an issue that if you're booting a PC and there's no internet, it won't boot. So so we need to apply the client unlock at a much earlier stage in the boot process so that you can get out at any point. I don't think it's that much work, but I'll certainly take this on board and apply it to my.
Yep.
My
and we have this all written out, so again, we'll.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, I know.
No personal user files. That's an interesting one with some of the other projects we're thinking about taking on in the next month or two that we don't want to talk about yet because we want to tip our hand to our competitors. But I would say personal user files is things that we're doing for an August project that are going to come down to a lot of centers will, I think, make personal user files a lot easier.
Right.
Because, you know, there's no secret for us. Like personal user files, it's like some people go extremes. Like 1 gigabit saved game file, you know, being saved is not something you can do with the cloud, number one. You know, and how much of that is really a feature that 99% of our centers need. What I think a lot of people want is games like, I believe Apex does this. I think that they save the key bindings on the local machine instead of in the cloud, which to me in this day and age is bizarre. Anybody that would still do that, but anybody that does that, that's such a small file that moving that around to where the user logs in next and dropping that file on the PC so they don't have to rebind all their keys. Absolutely, we want to try to figure that out. Something's coming up for us in this summer that we have to get done, you know, for a project that will make that a lot easier. So, all right, we'll just leave it at that. Louis Tomasini, is there a rework of the coin system coming? If yes, when? Can we have the option to add coins or manage the flow of them? Hopefully he was watching the first part of the video, but or is it a she? I don't even know. I think it's a he.
It's a he.
Okay, you guys know all these people. I don't know any of them. I know some of them. What do you mean? I know Martin. He's old school though. So we got an answer to that. He also asked, when is League Unlocked and Blizzard Cafe coming to Mexico and other countries? That's a great question. I mean, a lot of people ask that, and we want to be conscious of that. I'll kind of take that one just because I know William's working hard. Mark's meeting with Riot and enhancing that program soon. They're very interested in looking at some other markets for us. You know, to be frank, these companies are set up where, you know, the people we work with are a lot of times are North American based and their jurisdiction is just North America. Like a whole nother group, and I know this sounds strange because it's one company, but a whole nother group controls Europe or controls Mexico or South America or whatever. And all these folks can do is give them an example of how well we did in North America, and then it's still their choice in those countries whether or not they implement something. It's also a development thing on their end. Like you're connecting to different servers that may be versions behind these servers and not have the capability of doing League Unlocked in those countries. So trust me when I say we want everybody everywhere to have access to this. A lot of it's outside of our hands. The only thing that speaks to all of these companies is volume. And so we're not that big in places like Mexico. You know, like right now in Mexico, we could go to Riot and say, hey, we've got, and I want to say, I'm going to guess, but 20 centers in Mexico. That doesn't take as much weight in the conversation with them as when we go to them and say we have 300 centers in North America. You know, they're looking at Middle East because right now in the Middle East, we're big and we've got 100 plus in the Middle East, you know, so it really is about volume, and that's how we speak loudly to these folks. So not that you guys can do much about that in your other countries, except you be what I am here in the US with my center here, and why I started ggCircuit is like, just rally the troops as much as you can in your countries and get people to work together to get on our system. We have resellers now. We're making it affordable for you to get into our system from other countries, you know, through the resellers and local currencies and matching what it costs in your country. So we're trying to bring all those barriers down. Just get behind us and help us. Next one, this is for you, Ross. Carl Mills says, where's the API on the roadmap? And I guess I'll qualify that. And I'm guessing that what he means is like, when can they do a lot more interacting back and forth with data in our system with other systems, I'm guessing.
I think this is.
Yeah, I would guess stuff like showing PCs that are on in the system, how do players check time away, how can I create my own app or let people pay outside? Probably things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have plans to do a player portal. So the players will go to a website of ours, and they will be able to log in, and then they will just see a portal of their information and your center information. So depending on what you want to make available for them to see, but they can see a map of your store. They can reserve PCs. They can see who's logged in. They can see if their friends are there. They can see their coin status. They can buy time. They can top up their account. All that kind of stuff. That's definitely where we want to go. And I think, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at a summer time frame for that, right? For again, one of our clients is it's important to them, and so it helps drive things forward.
Yeah. So, and again, GG Fuse that we're launching this year, that Mark's heading up, the purpose of it is integration with other systems. We don't want to be a closed system at all. Like, we want to make sure it's your data, it's your players, however we can give you access to it. I know this from history, being a guy that has folks that work for me at my store that were coders. Like, even having access to APIs, a lot of times there's very few companies that will actually put that to work. But there are other development companies that may not even be in our business. It may not be a LAN center that builds something, but it might be a third party that, like, they just do something cool with software. Like, let's say an app. Maybe we build an app, maybe somebody else wants to build an app. Our purpose and our whole system is built on an API infrastructure. So everything communicates back and forth with APIs internally for us now. So we don't have any reason why we wouldn't open that up for other folks to work with. And that's our full intention. It will have to be done this summer for some projects we have coming up. So everybody will have access to it. I can't promise everybody, it'll be full access to everything right off the bat, but because there's, security is a big issue, like, and the API system, the way it would work and what kind of data is passed back and forth, and GDPR and P2 data protecting the clients and things are all a concern of ours. So I would say API on the roadmap is this summer. I'll just put it as that. And as long as Carl will let me be generic by what that means, I'll say it'll be ready in the summer. Next one, Aris Enriquez says, any news about Garena LOL coin tracking for us centers in the SEA region? It's kind of related to that thing we said earlier, like, it's not our call.
Well, no, actually, I do have a little bit of information.
Okay.
I know that Garena started using the Riot API some time ago. Now, it went through a beta phase, and we need to look at it again now to see if it's ready for commercial release. So it's something that they've been working on for quite a while now, and I remember looking at it maybe 6 months ago when it started. We couldn't use it yet because we were kind of still working on it, but we need to go back and look at it again now because perhaps it's ready and then we can start using it. So
I would say 100% too. We've got a great set of centers in the Philippines kind of expanding, and it goes back to my volume thing. Like, if there's enough centers and enough players, then if it's not quite done yet, but we go to them and say, hey, we've got 5,000 or 10,000 players that would love to connect and play League of Legends in those communities, that will help us.
Yep.
Qasim Din, did you think Stadia will be beneficial to gaming centers? That's a good question. Or do you think it will have a negative effect whereby making business harder for centers as people will suddenly have access to decent gaming? I mean, the problem is we saw that announcement yesterday at GDC by Google. That's their streaming service that they're putting out. It claims to be more powerful than Xbox and PlayStation combined, yada, yada, yada. I think we're all skeptical of it because it's all based on network conditions, So obviously they have a great backbone network, but the final mile, coming from my background in the ISP business, I just know how rough the final mile is. So if you've got a gigabit fiber connection into your house, I guarantee you it will be killer to have a system like that. And I'm sure it will work great. But, and I'm sure they know, it's kind of like us building our thing in the cloud, knowing full well that without internet, our system does not work. Like, is the internet stable everywhere? I don't know, but you know what? It's the future. So part of it for me is like, the future is everybody will be fast connected at some point. I don't know if that's in 1 year or 5 years. And Google has said, this works really good under this scenario. Let's go ahead and get it out there. And people with that good of a connection can start using it. And it's only going to keep getting better. Like, eventually people will upgrade. So I don't know for us in centers. I do know that the shadow system that a lot of people talked about and a couple others were tested. Our buddy Christian Bishop, I know, was testing it at Thunder at one point, JMac. I just talked to Christian yesterday about some other stuff. I could have asked him, what came of that, because that was something they were working on where you didn't have to have a PC for every client. I don't know. And the beauty, here's what I always say to people. The beauty of this and games and everything else is that we're so neutral to however it needs to be delivered. I don't think it ever takes away the ability for Sinners to do what we should be doing, which is engaging the players in unique experiences. So
yeah, I would say that it's less about like ggCircuit and gaming centers should be more about the social experience, the competitiveness, the environment, just being an awesome place for kids to hang out, compete, play games. And I'm sure a lot of your gamers, Zach, have PCs at home, but they choose to come to your place because that's where their friends are at. And so you might find that the startup costs for opening a gaming center drop dramatically if all you need is a monitor and a base PC. So, it could be really good for the industry as well.
Right. I will say if it works, asterisk, big asterisk, if it works, like what we were looking at with Christian out there is like, you just weigh the cost of, okay, these are going to cost you a lot less to buy, these thin clients or just whatever you need on this end to display the game. So you're going to save a bunch of capital. But is it worth the offset of the much higher internet costs that you'll have to have in order to make that run flawlessly? So, you're talking about maybe a $5,000 a month internet cost, which some people will be like, oh, it's not worth it. Well, if you could do 200 screens with that, 200 screens on a 3-year lease is going to be $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 a month. You never have to worry about maintaining the PC and upgrading the graphics cards. And so I could see it becoming a very viable thing. So
but it also depends on
we'll
game.
Test it.
It also depends on game adoption.
Yeah.
Like it's got Assassin's Creed and some Doom game that's coming out, but how many of those that just got paid by Epic to jump over to Epic's launcher, or what's their contract with Steam, and how quickly will Google adopt those games or it be ready for that platform?
Yeah, if you go to industry.ggCircuit.com, that's our report we made for the community that shows all the top games played in all of our centers around the world. If you don't see almost all of the top 10 or 15 or 20 games on that platform, I don't know how much it will be used, because in the end, you have to have those games. That's what everybody's playing. So I can't see a scenario where you have a PC and a thin client, because that doesn't make any sense. That's like paying double. So, it's going to have to get all of those games on its system in order to make it viable for, I can't even imagine at home I would do it. Like I have my Xbox at home or I have my gaming PC at home. I can play whatever I want on it. Who cares if it's Activision or Steam or Valve or Epic or whatever? All those work on a PC if I own the game. So, all right, moving on. Here we go. Justin, good old Justin out of Missouri, I think. Isn't Justin out of Missouri? Justin Wilson.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Kansas City. It was stated long ago in a land far away, no, he didn't say that, I did, that GG Leap was supposed to make money from partnerships and also by selling all the data that is being mined from Sinners, and the money was supposed to trickle down to the individual Sinners. Instead, we have to pay for our customers to compete in Fortnite, as Epic short on money that they can't sponsor the whole thing, or couldn't ggCircuit take a fee for administrating the tourney out of the 50,000 prize pool? Those are good questions. So yes, we could. I mean, obviously we could take money out of the prize pool if we wanted. No, we couldn't actually. Like, it's dedicated to the prize pool. So I actually talked with him about being paid an administrative fee to run that, and that changes out how it would be a third-party event to a first-party event, and then Epic would have to actually come in and do some stuff for it. So what they're able to do is say, here is prize money. What we charge money for in the Fortnite events, I talked about a little bit earlier, it is some of our administrative costs, but a lot of it is because, like in Justin's case, let's say if it was free, Justin would probably tell us right away he would have 50 players show up, okay? So if now we're like, okay, we've reserved 50 spots for Justin in Kansas City, and only 3 players show up, then the problem is that we don't have enough players in the servers to run the Fortnite event. So by charging a little bit of money, we really are just doing that so Sinners not have some skin in the game, but basically just don't flippantly reserve spots. It costs them a little bit of money to reserve spots to make sure that they fill those spots up with players. And we saw this for all the events. Like, some people will buy 5 spots, and then after they've got those sold, they'll come back and 5 more, which is fine. So for this next one, 50 is the max. If you think you can do it for 50, buy 50. If you can't, buy a smaller amount, and you can always upgrade over the next couple weeks as you get the word out.
I kind of look at it though like, hey, we've offered this $50,000 tournament that's split up into regions. Your players are vying for that money that you don't have to pay out. So technically that's trickling down to the centers. You're paying $5 a ticket and you're charging $15 to $20 for a player. So you're making $10 to $15 on a player. We are trickling that money down with the partnerships that we're getting.
Right. And all we care about is filling up centers. So for me, this is a perfect example of an event that does exactly what we want to do as a company, is deliver players to the center. And then it's up to the center to try to monetize that player beyond that. Like tournament, like make sure there's another Fortnite event scheduled for the week after that, so that that player that comes in knows they can come back the next week. I mean, we talk about this a lot, but I just want to address too, we do want there to be the trickle down effect. And that's one of the things we're talking about with the player system we're developing, where companies can come to us and say, hey, I have a new game coming out. Okay, brand new game, nobody's ever heard of it. Would you guys promote this in your centers? Absolutely, Mr. Game Developer, we'd love to. Where would you like to promote it? Okay, North America and Europe. Okay, no problem. How many people do you want to do it? We want 10,000 players to do it. Okay, we're going to charge you $10 a player to put that game in front of it up until 10,000 players play it. And then we'll take a percentage of that and send that to the centers, because we will want players to play the game for free and have the publisher pay through us down to the centers for the time that player plays the game on the PC. Absolutely, we want to do that. Like, that's fully our intention when this is automated in full bloom, to be able to deliver those experiences to the players at no charge to the player, at no charge to the center. In fact, the center gets paid to have that player sit in that seat, and then it does a great thing for the publisher, because it forces players to play it, because they're like, hey, why would I not play this game? I get to play it for free for an hour. You know. So,
I think another thing just to touch on quickly in regards to partnerships is a lot of these centers would not have the Super League gaming events if it wasn't for us. That they're getting players driven to their center, they're getting food and game time paid for. So even though it may not be the exact program we want just yet, centers are already seeing benefits for the things that we're going out and working towards for them.
All right, next one is Martin jumping in again with another one, which is a good question. On the game detail screen, Ross, Martin's question is, will there be generic game detail screen with actual descriptions, age appropriateness, and things? So instead of the glorified gamified screen, where do we show, this is a rated T for teen? Where do we show, here's a description of what this game is? Kind of like, most management softwares, that's like the default screen. Obviously we want to make ours active, but we probably still should show some of those details and things.
Sure. Yeah, as part of the new upgrade, I showed the League of Legends and Fortnite ones earlier on, but we do have default ones, and we need to have them because there's must be like 3,000 games in our system.
Right. And
so if we upgrade the client and someone goes to one of those games, then what do we show there? And so we have some default stuff there at the moment. So default images that look cool, and we can edit the information that's displayed as well. And actually, with the update that's going out, let's say within 24 hours, there's age restrictions on there, so you can go into the game, you can edit the description, you can edit the age of the age requirements for the game, you can edit some stuff there, and that works now. But when we release a new upgrade with the client, then there will initially be 3,000 games where we have no content, and so we'll need to go through the top 100 first of all to make sure that we have the right screenshots and make it look cool, the right description, the right age ratings, and everything else that goes along with it, so that if you go to a top 100 game, then it's going to look awesome, and then we can spend some time on the rest, and we'll kind of work our way down through the list of 3,000. But yes, we have thought about that. We do need some defaults, and then the admins or at a local level can go in and edit all that to make it however you want it to be displayed.
Oh, that sounds good. I see stuff popping in my notification too, JMax. So if you get a chance to jump over in the Facebook group and see if there's any other, we got a couple more questions here. Just make sure we didn't miss anybody on there because we wrap up here in a little bit. These must be from the chat. Crocodilius, which I don't know who that is. Can you create multiple sliders for different reasons? So I guess that's a great question. So how many different sliders can you have saved inside of that? Have you thought about that yet, Ross?
Yeah, you can do it at the moment. It's a little bit hacky. So if you create one slider and you get the URL and you paste that under one of your displays, it'll play that content. And as long as you don't F5 that display, it'll just continue to play that slide reel. So if you create a new one and get a new URL, and well, actually it's the same URL. Basically, if you F5 it on a different device, it'll load the updated content. And if you change it and put it on another display and F5 it, it'll do it. So it can be done if you kind of want to hack it at the moment. But yeah, that's a request that I've got since announcing the slider, that people have different, like especially if you have a big arena and you just want to have some sort of content maybe near your cafe or bar that just advertises your drinks and stuff. You want to have something different there than up at your gaming area. Then I can see that as a valid feature request, and I think we need to include it.
Yeah, I would say for sure we want to have the ability to save.
Yeah.
Like different, like, and again.
Yeah, because it could take maybe 10 minutes to configure your slide reel the way you want it. So you don't have to do that every time.
Right, and there may be a room of PCs, and you just have the League of Legends and Dota stuff in that room, because that's irrelevant in the other area where there's a lot of Xboxes or PlayStations. I know that would probably be the case for my store here. So it's a good question. NYPB, so I'm guessing this is good old Ian up in Racine, Wisconsin, says, I used NDI to capture player screens. Capture software runs in system tray, would like to be able to run it without extra steps. Is that, again, I'm a little bit dumb with how some of this works, but is that kind of what we were talking about?
I think it's still related
to
sys tray, yeah.
Yeah, we covered that one. I'm aware that we need the sys tray. So whenever we do the taskbar, we'll do the system tray at the same time, and I'll publish that on the roadmap as soon as possible.
So do we, and this is just me being dumb, but the system tray that Windows shows, can we just display that any way we want on our client?
I don't think it's going to be that way. I think we'll need to make our own version of it. So the core will know what's happening, and then we'll make our own version of it. So if somebody clicks on our system tray, the core will tell that program to come to the foreground. So I think we'll need to do our own version of it, but we can do it.
Right. I mean, and I kind of see where everybody's coming from. Like, if you think UI, UX, we're all trained to look at things a certain way. Like Windows, whatever it was that was bringing out the tiles, thought they were going to redo how everybody interacts with Windows. Well, the problem is for 5 years or wherever, we're all used to going to the bottom of the screen and hitting the start bar, to launch programs, and we're used to going down and right-clicking and seeing task man, so I have a feeling like it's a waste of time. We don't need to re-educate people by trying to have our stuff be a lot different than what they're used to interacting with Windows anyway. So, So what you're saying to Ian is we hear you, and I see you.
And I will be in charge of making sure that we're much more open about the roadmap and stuff that's coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So I will have that on Friday.
Crocodilius is John Sarmy of Little E League in Florida.
Okay. Do you want to? I don't want people to not get a shout out if that's what they were trying to get by putting a question.
They're just asking questions for shout outs.
Right. So far, there's not been a question that I've thought to myself. Do you want me to just say your name on this? All right, Terry from Ballantini, from over at Normal Esports in Illinois. How do we get connected with Super Gaming League?
Super League Gaming.
Yeah, which is a great question. So right now, that program, one of our partners and founders here, Mark, that started iGames. iGames is kind of managing that program with Super League, I think. So we can absolutely get them. I don't know that they have, I have a feeling they're rolling out to 16 and 32, but I have noticed more and more centers getting in that. So we'll reach out to them and find out if they're open for us to just pass through. We'll just post it in the Facebook group, or maybe send an email out to everybody of where to contact them. I think that's a great idea, because all of us, I haven't hosted one here at my store. Would love to host one there. They basically pay for pizza for everybody, pay for time for the players to come in and play and hang out. It's just a fun community gathering night. I think they do them during the week too, which we all love, because then on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, there's something in my center that's different, So yeah, Terry, we'll get you in touch with them and try to reach out and see if we can get them into more centers. Gamer Planet, Daniel Perry. I'm assuming JMac added that because he's now watching what I'm doing, and I'm making a poor job of identifying people. Can we get an option to remove some games from different PC groups? I don't want our VR computers to show all our Steam games that are for PC only. It's a great question.
Well, that's a great question. I have a great answer. That has been completed. It's available on the next version, which will be tonight or tomorrow.
It'll be in the next 24 hours. Do you watch... Anybody, hopefully everybody else is watching can see people's faces, because every time Ross says something, JMac can't help himself. JMac just is he moves a little to the side, or puts his head down a little, or when Ross says, the next 24 hours.
Burned me so many times. It's like it's like a soap opera, and this guy keeps dying and comes back in the next season. That's me. Ross makes me die just a little bit whenever his predictions come out.
I just love that game data coming soon inside of our client is so applicable to last month we had 93 people sign up for a trial, about 68 of them converted. Again, just sharing some numbers with us. So 68 new centers started up with us last month. Could be coming soon for them.
Yeah,
they don't know. Those 68 people don't know.
No, they know because Ross tells me, and I blab to everybody.
They're like, "Ooh, this is coming soon," and we're like, "Yeah, anytime."
Just a quick update from Neely. Super League Gaming is going to ramp up to 32 locations coming through the next few events, so some more people will be able to get in there.
Yeah, and again, I don't know just to be fair to everybody, I have a feeling the way they look at it is geographical first. So if there's one in
they
in
currently
a big city
support
by you,
they currently support centers that have a regional team in them.
Yeah, so they've got New York, they've got one, I know, and Boston, they've got one. They've hit the big cities first. So unfortunately, Terre Haute, Indiana, right here, we're probably going to be pretty low on the list. However, as they ramp it up, they're ramping up pretty quickly. I feel like that they're going from 16 to 32, and they just started that program pretty heavily in the next.
Oh heck yeah, they got their dollar bills from their IPO.
That's true. They did their IPO. Let's get some of that cash flowing to the centers, right?
There's a lot of questions here. So.
Are these all from Patrick at Helix?
Yeah, he wasn't cool enough.
Is he allowed to? He's allowed to ask 5. I guess we let Martin ask a bunch. So. Riot question: what's Epic's reason for locking stores for only 4 hours? This makes it. That's actually not an Epic thing. That's our thing. So we can probably address that. Yeah, we can address that. So his question basically, it's a long ass question. Basically, we put a 4-hour pass with our ticket when you buy a Fortnite spot. We can change that. We want to be conscious of the center not being required to provide a bunch of hours, because the flip of that, Patrick, is the guy or the gal that comes in and plays and they don't make the finals. So they play their 3 matches and they're done, and they play for their 3 hours. And, how long do you want them sitting in that chair, even though they're not in the finals later? So what we'll do for this one, I think, Ross, is that I know we could probably extend it to 5 hours to be safe. So if we want the tickets to include 5 hours of game time, we need some sort of flexibility so some centers can choose to not do 5 hours of game time. That's the problem. You follow what we're talking about, Ross? When you buy the ticket? Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we experimented a little bit with the warm-ups and the spray event recently, where we extended the qualification period to 6 hours, thinking that we could allow players to rebuy and kind of play again if they get knocked out of the tournaments pretty quickly. But I think on hindsight, we prefer to go back to the original model to kind of shorten the time period, because it was a bit too long. And if there isn't as many players as what you're hoping for, then guys can be standing around and everyone's not too sure of when the finals are going to start, and then we have to kind of reschedule things. So I think we've decided that we're going to stick with the original plan, which is the 3-hour qualification period, and then the players who finish in the top 100 will get an extra, I think it's 2.5 hours on their account to play in the finals. So I think when you're positioning this as how much you're going to sell it for to your gamers, it would be telling them you will get 3 hours, and if you play really well, you'll get an extra 2.5 hours. And that hope for them to get the extra 2.5 hours and play in the finals and win a load of money. And that should also be priced into the value of the ticket.
And the people that went 6, 7, 8 hours were the people in the finals in that first event in January. So, they would have earned more hours by qualifying for the finals. So, in Patrick's example, if they buy 50 tickets and they have 50 players show up, in 3 hours, they might have 5 players that qualify. But at that point, the little 4-hour block should have been plenty for those rest of those players. And then the ones that qualified will get an extra amount of time for free. Unfortunately, I don't think you want to charge a player more time just because they made it to the finals. They've kind of won more time to be in the finals. But we have shortened it down. So I guess in answer to Patrick's question, it is only a 3-hour qualifier this time around. And it's all automated now. Like if anybody's been in these, like Ross has said, they're getting more and more automated. So they'll be able to get their 3 matches in very, very quickly. We have 20 private servers that we've automated the process for. So, you know, we're very not normal. Like, it's not like there's just JMac in that room you see him in on here, you know, like with one server and we have to wait till that one's done before we start another one. Like we can run multiple ones at a time now. So, all right, man, he has 8 questions. Holy crap. Like, all right. When can we expect a fix for the gray boxes, shadow boxes that appear when using something that has a drop-down box? These are good questions, so we'll use them.
I'm really on the hot seat. Yes, I am aware of that issue. So it seems to be that in some of the game launchers, if you click on the pull down, the drop-down menu, that something sticks in Unity, and I'm not sure if it's Unity or the core that's the cause of the problem, but you know, it can just leave this block there, which is obviously very annoying, and I think the only way to get out of it is to restart the PC. Log out of the client, I should say. So yeah, again, it's one of those things that I'm aware of. It's a case of prioritizing it, and hopefully I can communicate this a lot better when we start doing the roadmap. But yeah, we need to get that fixed.
I can't wait till we see the roadmap Friday, where Ross puts all of these items from this list. On Epic Launcher, what's the reason for the fill in the box pop-up getting stuck on the screen permanently or until you close the launcher?
It actually happens not just in ggLeap, but it happens in admin. And a lot of it is just kind of randomly where the mouse, if it mouses over at the just right point, then it says you have to fill in this username. It's I hate to like just point fingers, but it's just kind of an Epic problem, because I've seen it happen in ggLeap, I've seen it happen in non-ggLeap, and I don't know if there's an answer without going to Epic.
And the fix, I'm assuming, is reboot the PC?
Well, no, the fix is close the Epic launcher if you're in Fortnite.
Okay. So not an answer on that one. Lock screen, honestly, working currently, it honestly stops nothing. I don't know if that's a question.
I think he's referring to the fact that people can Alt-Tab
right
if their screen is locked, which I understand is a bug. And again, it's down to prioritization. But I, you know, the most important feature for lock screen is that if you get a really busy center, you know, someone can go to the bathroom and lock his computer and not worry about somebody logging him out, or you know, taking over the computer. So at least from my point of view, the majority of what that task is supposed to do has been completed. However, I know that somebody can shiftily Alt-Tab and bring up his stuff, which isn't great. So we do need to get that fixed. But I'm hoping at least that the lock button has some value at this point. Although I know it needs to be patched so that it's flawless.
Yeah, we're working on a reservation system that Ross talked about for a portal, and that's going to have to go along with this. Like, we can't, if it needs to be reserved for a player, the same thing as locking the screen. Like, they shouldn't be able to Alt-Tab into something else, obviously. So,
right.
Console guest accounts, please.
Okay, I mean, that's a feature request. So our guest system is not as good as what it should be. I mean, just because of the nature of our business, we're trying to enhance the system for members and, you know, make sure that everyone's stats are recorded and tracked from PC to PC. But the guest system is obviously something that's important for some centers, especially those that have like internet cafe usage, where you just have somebody coming in and you're never going to see them again. So we do need to do a revamp of the whole guest process, because it's not ideal at this point. And one of the things that we need to do then, because you can log into a computer as a guest, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to log into a console as a guest. So the guest overhaul as an entire system needs to be looked at, and I will add it to the roadmap.
And the next one goes along with it, adding additional time to guest accounts.
Again.
So same thing. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Mass logouts on all accounts, not just restart them all.
Okay. Sure.
And I'm trying to think of some of these. That should be a pretty easy one. Activity log. I always seem to refresh this page. It seems very clunky to find the information. I guess that goes back to our first question about the export to CSV and everything. Ross is planning an overhaul of the whole thing, right?
Well, the activity tracker is different. So you can't export the activity tracker. And if you're finding it clunky, then I would try it again tomorrow, because as I say, we're about to deploy the upgrade to Angular 7. Which is
That's
a whole
a fast answer.
Speed improvement, so I would hope it would be improved with that upgrade.
That is the fastest answer ever. Tomorrow, or the next 24 hours.
Next 24 hours.
That's it. That's the end of my list. We're doing pretty good on time. We did it in about an hour and a half. Obviously, sure, we want to give more people time to plan and schedule for this to join us for our next one, but we also didn't want to be overwhelmed. We tried to pick a time of the day that, and again, this, I'm sure J-Mac's recording this. We'll put it up on YouTube and everybody can watch back through that couldn't join us live today. But what we want to do for April is we'll do it again in April, and we'll try to announce it a week or so ahead of time if we can. It's not that we didn't want to give people time. It's just that I wanted to get one of these in before I took off on spring break tomorrow. And then also just kind of get us jump started to get the roadmap in place and start knocking some of these things out so that everybody knows, you know, the purpose of a town hall is that you get to voice your concerns. And we want to know, everybody to know that what your concerns are for us are definitely important for us. GG Leap and its progression is not going anywhere. We want to continue to make it better, enhance it, and make it as seamless and automated as possible, and remove as many problems that you would face running your stores as we can. So anything else that you guys want to close on, J-Mac or Ross? Did we get everybody's questions, J-Mac?
Yeah, I think so. There was one more on Facebook. It's talking about coins across centers, and I think that will come with the
that will actually not come with anything. So coins.
Well, I mean, if people are in the Prime thing and they have wallets across the place.
Right. So coins, to be specific,
yes.
Coins specifically are going to become a loyalty system just for each center. So what the coin system is today, it'll be enhanced. You'll be able to do stuff with it. The purpose of coins will never be that you can take a coin from one center and use it at another center, or any kind of interactivity between centers with the coins. What we're talking about with the new player program, there'll be a new currency of some kind that is generated in that we will provide prizes for, and absolutely they could play in one center and earn some of this currency and go to another center and earn some. We're providing the prizes to the player, so the centers don't have to worry about providing the prizes. Coins will just become a whole little cool economy that each center has full control over, changing the rates of how they earn them, changing the times of days that they earn them, all the stuff that Ross listed earlier that he'll post a link to the page of changes that we're going to do to the coin system. So
do we have any that one's from Adam at Battlegrounds, shout out.
Yeah.
Do we have any ETA on the wallet system, or will that come with the roadmap?
Yeah, the wallet system is part of the unified account, you know, so we're trying to move everything into one login, and the unique email being their identifier, and being able to walk with that account to another location but keep their wallet back at the first. So I don't know if that's, I mean, again, Ross has got to provide the roadmap by Friday, so it'll be interesting to see where that falls.
Yep, you'll soon know. Yep.
Is it on the list now?
It's on the not 6 to 8 weeks. It's definitely going to be after 8 weeks. That's a big sort of project that we got to get right. So it'll be more of a Q3 type task, I would imagine.
Okay. Cool.
Alrighty, I'm killing it.
Awesome, boys. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
We'll put this up on YouTube, right?
Yeah, probably YouTube and Facebook later.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.
Bye, guys.